Hi, everyone. This is your host, Maheen, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast, where we're ready to delve into another insightful discussion. Today, we're focusing on the crucial role of leadership in small and medium enterprises and exploring how strategic hires can transform business operations. We're all set to start this amazing episode enriched with valuable strategies for growing our business. With us today is Katherine Clarke-Nolan, the Chief Operating Officer at Business Sherpa Group. Katherine has a rich history of connecting ideas to action, specializing in transforming businesses into more efficient and innovative workplaces. Since joining BSG, she has become an instrumental force for small businesses, helping them navigate and thrive in today's dynamic environment. Join us as we explore her journey and insights into effective business operations. Welcome, Catherine. It's wonderful to have you on the show. How are you today?
I'm well, thanks. Thanks, Maheen. I am excited to be here. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Catherine, your experience in operationalizing, I should say, strategic visions is so inspiring, and it's incredibly pertinent to our listeners, many of whom who are navigating, their own growth challenges. But to begin things with, let's kind of kickstart with a dive into the strategic role within an SME. I mean, the COO position, especially, is so pivotal for growth and stability. Catherine, from your vast experience, how can an SME leader recognize the right time to bring on a COO?
That's a really good question. Yeah, and just to pick up on some of the stuff you were saying, just about a COO, how interesting the COO role is. It doesn't tend to have a definition the same way a CEO role does, right? A leader is often the visionary, the one moving things forward, and then a CEO kind of comes in to help that CEO with their weaknesses, right? So I've always found it very interesting being a COO, and talking to other COOs is that we often don't find a lot of common ground in our jobs. Like they're kind of just whatever the CEO needs, whereas CEOs tend to have this more common ground in what it looks like to be a CEO. But for sure, if you are a CEO or a founder CEO and you're thinking, oh gosh, okay, I think I need someone. I need a second, my right hand person here. I'd say one of the biggest things is hire earlier than you think.
Mhm.
So really, don't bootstrap, don't work from the side of your desk for as long as you think you can, because there's some really important pivotal moments in an SME where you make key investments. And so, if you're at that point where you're looking to go from 1 million to 5 million in revenue, or the next 5 million to 10 million, you're going to have to make some strategic investments. And I'd say if you're looking to scale and you don't have a COO yet, look into bringing in a COO or a fractional COO, whether or not you need a full-time COO, is also something to look at. Someone who can, help build your foundation as you scale, because without a really, really strong foundation, it's very hard to scale. Another moment is when you have to pivot. Are you
Mhm.
sitting there right now and going, oh my gosh, I need to pivot. I need to pivot. I need to change. Okay, so who do you need to bring on? Who is that strategic investment? Is it a COO? It could be a CFO as well, right? It's terms of who is the key leadership that you need to have in place to help you make that pivot. At SMEs, no, there's a lot of us who are pivoting often, right? As market changes, as financing changes, those are some key moments to look for. So I'd really say like scalability when you're looking to scale, or if you need to pivot, it's a good time to look at your leadership and who else you might need to bring on. And it can be costly, right? It is it is an investment, but the idea is to make that investment to help your business thrive.
Well, thank you for clarifying this very pivotal decision-making process. But if you were to build onto this a bit more, Catherine, what are some clear indicators that a business is ready to support and benefit from this level of leadership?
So yeah, going back to that ideal of scalability. So as you see your revenue start to really grow, sometimes you can go into hyper growth, right? And if you're into hyper growth, that's definitely something. Okay, what do you need to bring in that foundation, that strong processes? I like to say sometimes it's a bit of the boring work, the processes, the standards, all the things that keep that foundation strong as you're experiencing growth, or to help help uh, help growth happen, or that pivot happen. If you're doing it all, like if you are working off the side of the desk, if you are a founder and a CEO and you're doing it all, that's a really, clear indicator that maybe you need to bring someone on to help you with some of those things, because you can't do it all, and you're not going to reach your goals if you're doing it all. What I say is, you hire for your weaknesses. Bringing in key leadership positions is not, it's not to take over the CEO role. It's really to hire for your own weaknesses, or the things that you don't want to do anymore. I mean, the beauty of, if you're really small and you're a founder CEO, is you can make a list of everything you love to do and all the things you really don't want to do. And then you say, okay, well, how can I figure out, how can I find someone else to do this for me? Because there is someone who probably likes doing those things, who will come in and do those things for you. So I'd say if you're getting to a point where you can no longer do it all, you're bootstrapping, you don't feel like there's enough foundation or structure in your organization, it's time to bring on a COO.
No, Katherine, your insights will definitely equip our listeners with a practical roadmap for understanding when their business might be ready to expand its leadership team. But on that note, I really want to connect with the listeners as well. Listeners, Katherine just shared some very crucial insights on recognizing, the right time to hire a COO. So really think about, where your business is right now. Are you at a point where, such a leadership role could really catapult your growth? I mean, it's just not about having enough people or resources. It's really about that strategic alignment and that readiness for expansion. So really reflect on this as we continue our discussion. Now, Katherine, moving on, let's discuss the value of strategic hires, because investing in leadership is a significant transformative step for any business, large or small. Can you discuss the intrinsic value a strategic hire like a CEO brings to a small or medium-sized enterprise?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think the biggest value they bring is taking things off your plate that either you don't want to do or cannot do anymore, or is taken away from the things that the business needs you to do. So let's say you are a CEO that's amazing at sales, but you're in the day-to-day weeds of your business. But without those sales, you cannot pivot, or you cannot move to that next level of scalability. That CEO brings in their value is making sure they take all those things off your plate.
Mm-hmm.
The CEO's real job is to take your vision as a CEO and make it happen, make it operational, right? Make sure that the right people are in place, that the right financing is happening, all the operational things on the day-to-day that need to happen in order for that vision to be accomplished. Yeah, like I said before, like there's kind of a lack of a general COO job description. And that's the beauty of being a CEO, is you can say, okay, hey, this is what I need in a COO. I can write this job description. And you'll see in larger corporate settings, often a CEO will stay on for longer than a COO, because the CEO is holding the vision and moving the organization forward. But like I said, there are pivotal moments in terms of strategic investments where your CEO might need to change based on the needs of the business and what needs to be taken over. In terms of SMEs, though, that's a little harder. You're not going to want to change your COO, every few years, or with every strategic reset. So in terms of the intrinsic value, is to bring on someone who is adaptable, fairly adaptable, right? Who has some experience in a bunch of things that you need, or has the ability to see your vision and say, okay, I know who needs to come in. I know who needs to be hired, and I can work with these people and delegate in a way to make that vision happen.
No, clearly. I mean, strategic hires are not just cost centers, but they're also pivotal investments that can catalyze long-term growth and stability. Now, in terms of integrating a senior leader is as much about cultural fit as it is about strategic alignment. Catherine, what strategies have proven effective at BSG for integrating senior hires into the team?
Yeah. There's the basic stuff for every single hire that I think, SMEs, we as SMEs, sometimes we have struggles doing it just because we're so busy actually doing the work as well, right? But, a really good onboarding, where you, especially at the leadership level, is like an onboarding of this is all the stuff we do, all the strategic stuff, making sure they understand like real conversations about everything that's happening, our pain points, what works well, like a real deep dive, especially if it's a COO, right? Because coming in and seeing a deep dive is really important for the COO as they understand how they can actually operationalize a CEO's vision, while also having long conversations with the CEO about what they expect and what they want to see. What is their vision? Why is that their vision? How do they see reaching that vision, right? So a lot of conversations, very clear expectations. I think in the beginning, like it's not weird if you're a CEO and you're talking to your COO every single day. Even now, I've been working with our CEO for a long time, and we worked together before we were in these positions as well. And we still talk almost every day just to make sure we're aligned, right? Make sure that things are happening in the ways that we want them to. And I think another very important aspect of integrating senior hires is making sure everyone knows kind of the separation of powers, right? Giving them the actual autonomy to do their job, making sure that people know that this is the person to go to versus coming to you. That takes a while, obviously, especially if you're in a small organization. But you really give them the authority to take on that leadership role, right? Trust. And you've done that already by communicating really well, letting them know what their job is, communicating with your team that this is the person for this. So that I think is a big one, is really giving them the authority to do the job they need to do. And that can be hard in an SME, especially if it's a founder or someone who's, really played all the roles for a long time.
Right. No, your experiences really offer valuable lessons, on nurturing leadership within a team, ensuring that they make an immediate positive impact. So thank you for sharing these insights, Catherine. And let's take a pause here for a second. I mean, listeners, integrating a senior leader into your team is a transformative step that requires, careful planning and execution. And for those of you running a business, like how do you approach bringing in high-level executives? So Catherine has mentioned some very effective strategies, but what works for your unique setup? I mean, understanding this question is what can greatly influence how seamlessly your team adapts and thrives. Moving on, Catherine, let's discuss innovation in HR services because HR is the backbone of any thriving company, ensuring the team grows in alignment with the company's vision and needs. What should be the relationship between a senior leader and the technology used in their SME?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the technology. I'd say first that technology is not your savior, right? That the technology is super important in the world we're in. You need really good technology that speaks well to each other, that's automated, that creates really good flows, really business flows within your organization. But just remember that technologies also need people. So they often need someone to maintain it and optimize it or innovate with that technology. So bringing on a technology without understanding the human resource implications, as you were saying, is really important, because it may mean needing a new resource, or it may mean there's also the change management aspect of your entire company when you're bringing in new technology. You do really need a good technology roadmap,
Hmm.
right? It's not something technology in an organization is not something you just want to haphazardly bring in and not understand whether it's got an open API and ways to connect to other technology you may already have in the organization, or understand how the data is flowing through each of those pieces. What part of it's manual, what part of it will actually increase productivity. So I always recommend having a technology roadmap and reviewing it often, because technology, as we know, changes every I don't know. Well, AI seems to change every few weeks. So,
It is.
uh, so having a clear plan, having a good team, understanding change management, there's always a people side to technology and adaptation. And with AI coming in, I think for SMEs, there's a lot of we're all just trying to figure out how do we integrate AI into our daily work. Um, and what does that mean for us as SMEs? And we're still figuring that a little that as well, but it's really exciting for sure. And just it still requires people. It still requires knowledge. It still requires critical thinking. It certainly speeds up some processes, but it's certainly as a senior leader, when we think specifically about AI, I keep thinking about, okay, so how do we need to implement AI, but also keep the knowledge within people, keep people having the critical analysis skills to use that technology. And the biggest thing in technology, I'd say, is fail fast.
Mhm.
It's not working. Yeah, you know what? If it's
Legit.
not
Yeah.
working, yeah, move on. I'd actually also say that in terms of senior leadership, it sorry, just to go back to one of the things we were talking about. If you're talking about a CEO, COO relationship, if it's not feeling good after a certain amount of time and it's not working well, move on maybe, right? Because
Right.
it's a such an important relationship. That, give it a try, but it shouldn't be it shouldn't impede the organization moving forward.
No, it's so impressive to see how BSG adapts its offerings to better meet the needs of your clients, ensuring that you remain competitive with this fast-paced digital transformation era. But let's kind of highlight some of the future directions for BSG as well, because looking ahead is so essential for any forward-thinking organization that is wanting to stay competitive and relevant. Catherine, what are some of the future initiatives at BSG that you find particularly exciting?
Yeah, I think I've already mentioned is the integration of AI and the integration of AI into our own processes, and understanding it. What we like to do is try to figure it out for ourselves a bit, and then we can bring that to our clients, right? So how do we do that, and then how do we enable our customers and our clients to integrate AI, and how can we support that integration on both the technological and people side in terms of supporting it. Um, so, taking all of the stuff that we learn and supporting our scaling and pivoting clients as well. We're also, so this is, we celebrated our Sweet 16 this year. So we have 16 years of data from small and medium enterprises that our clients have asked us for in terms of better understanding, salary data and recruitment data and data that isn't necessarily available at the size of market we serve in an easy way. And so we're trying to figure out, hey, what can we do? What can we do to get that to our clients to help them make better informed decisions? Not only themselves, but also like with our expertise, right? Help them understand the data, tell the story of the data to help them make better decisions within their own organization. So I'm really excited about that as well.
No, your strategic vision not only highlights the path that BSG is taking, but also serves an inspiration for other businesses that are looking to innovate and adapt. But before we conclude, Catherine, could you offer just one final piece of advice for aspiring entrepreneurs and business leaders listening today?
Yeah, I think I want to go back to your comment about you were saying, to your listeners, think about your own hiring strategies, think about, your own leadership strategies. And the advice I would give is start early, start that planning early, start the transition early, especially if it's someone within your own organization that you're bringing up, start that knowledge transfer early. This is where where you kind of want to go slow to go fast,
Mhm.
really understand that key position you're trying to hire and understand it early, because we often see clients in crisis. It's crisis mode, right?
Right.
And you're not necessarily making the best decisions in crisis mode or hiring the best people in crisis mode. So if you know that you have long-term goals of scaling to a certain point and you're going to need that leadership, as I said before, think it through as much as possible. Take your time if you can. Seek help from an expert if you can, and just don't do it in crisis mode.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I
been
wouldn't. advice I'd give. Yeah.
No, thank you once again, Katherine, for joining us today and sharing your invaluable insights into strategic leadership and HR innovations. I mean, it's been very enlightening to hear how, effective leadership can really transform an organization. So again, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Listeners, we hope you found this discussion as inspiring and informative as we did. We'd like to appreciate our guest, Katherine Clarke-Nolan, for joining us today, as well as to our partners for their support. RBC as our exclusive banking partner, UPS as our exclusive shipping partner, Xero as our exclusive accounting software partner, Constant Contact, our email partner, and IHG Business Edge as our exclusive hospitality partner. Please don't forget to subscribe to the Canadian SME Small Business Magazine at canadiansme.ca for more insightful episodes. Until next time, keep innovating and pushing your business forward. Thank you.